Welcome back, audience. You know what? I gotta bring my tea. There. I have my tea with me now. It felt off not to have my tea with me. I hope you're doing good, as always. Let's talk about something. I have a great insight to share. Um, this insight is really cool because if you really understand it, if you really see the world like that, it almost like makes you fall into this heart space where there's nothing to hold on to and you're just like living through it, you know. And it is indeed like perspective or a way of life, and it is a huge energetic shift. And it does have all these challenges that I'm keep on talking about, these little chemical challenges. To me, this is a real way of living life, not through the mind but from the heart. And often these challenges, they come along and they try to push you back into the mind again, you see, and you have to alchemize it. Let it go, unlock that thing, and beat that demon, slay that demon. Okay, and it gets to the point where it's like very fascinating. You can see that um, this is what matters, and this is what I would really want to talk about in this video. um, I may not say anything new to you, but nothing in this physical reality is voluntary. Okay, if that's true and nothing is voluntary and people just behave based on the previously recorded scripts, or they come from the heart and are being spontaneously expressive, which is the most amazing thing ever, it's involuntary. There is no such thing as a voluntary response. So look what that may do to your perspective. If you look at the world like that and you see people behave in a certain way and you see like, well, it was just involuntary response, then all of this placing responsibility upon them kind of goes away. A lot of frustration that you may have in your life is placing responsibility upon someone else, right? And and now and you're assuming that there is a degree of intelligence there capable of self-adjusting, right? And if we're talking about the ego world, it's not the case. They're not conscious, they're programs running around. Okay, so it's just like in a video game. You wouldn't be shouting at an NPC doing something, you know, because you know, like, okay, that's just a program. And you know, even if it's the most stupid program, the most stupid thing that the NPC is doing, you are not taking it personally. And if you're not taking it personally, all that energy that you would normally waste on that falls back onto where it's supposed to be, and that is your center, your heart, your the source of all the feelings, where your attention may live. I often say that all of your attention belongs to awareness. And if you really if you really see this case, you would you see what I mean. It's like um, in the video with Landon, I asked him to become attentive of every sensation all at once, and it is a type of request that allows you to make your all of your attention be placed upon awareness. And that's what all of this relief is, this peace. And and then only change that you're really capable of making is if there is in that space anything that is sort of not ideal, you place the attention there, because that thing is separating attention from awareness again, separating the logos from the eros. And hopefully, as I'm talking about this, you're actually becoming attentive and playing with those feelings that are in your heart. It is a type of navigation, not thought, not mind, but you're navigating the world of soul. So that's what happens. Whoa. The lights begin flickering. This is so crazy. But I'm not surprised. There's so many interesting things happen in the jungle. Anyway, hope it goes away. Now, these things happen because all the technology is kind of exposed to a lot of randomness and chaos. And something, for example, the light would come on and you would say, like, okay, how did the hell this light come on? And maybe some lizard just walked past the sensor and sort of enabled it, you know? Anyway, let's just go back on track. So, what I was saying about that world, okay? And it is almost like a discovery of the world. If you've always been living in the mind, the matrix, and you discover this world, it's amazing. And you, of course, you don't want to leave this world, but to stay in this world, at least in my experience, there's an alchemical process that every so often you have to overcome. And it happens like every month and every week in the different ways, especially at this time right now. So what I'm trying to do here is to bring attention to the fact that nothing is voluntary in people. Very important, because then you will be able to remove that authority responsibility that you would normally place upon them. Okay, because you made a huge error. You assumed that they do have a capacity for self-correction and to make that action that is either irresponsible or stupid or or lying or cheating or whatever. If you assume that there was an authority who are deliberately decided that to do, then you are getting frustrated. You see what I'm trying to say? Because your attention moves onto that person. Say, why did that person do this? So your attention is on that person, and it's not on your heart in this toroidal energy field and leaking the energy. because there's an assumption that there's external authority there who did this deliberately, rather than seeing it as just a script that's being executed. So when you move through the world like that, you look at it and somebody does something stupid or whatever, or beeps at you, or drives recklessly, and you, if you think that there is an authority there that is, possible to self-correct, then you getting frustrated and, and try to control it, the world this way, right? But if you realize that, hey, then nobody's in charge there, nobody's home there, they're lost, they're scared. If there's anybody home, they're lost and scared, and they don't know what the fuck is happening. That's what is more closer to the truth. And when I was watching people and I started realizing this, I was like, it's almost like there's no authority there, that they're just running the script. And like we talk on that one-on-one video about how LLM interacts with you through the randomness, and that randomness is skewed and organized based on your own state of consciousness, kind of show you like almost immediate feedback of how reality works. So that's how you affect the reality. If somebody's disorderly and does things that are quite disorderly, so rather getting frustrated about that fact, realizing that, okay, it's just a script running, there's no authority there, you take away the energy, you put it back where it belongs, and you remain in peace, bliss, just watching this thing happening, right? And that gives you the highest chance of it happening less and less. I've noticed this. For example, you may go out driving, and then people crazy, just like, just crazy. And if you engage in that energy of that fear, that anger, then you're participating there, and you're just contributing the energy towards this disorder. But if you remain in peace and let everything happen the way it happens, after some time you may notice like the traffic becomes better. It seems that people are calmer, they drive more orderly. And that only happened because you maintained your peace inside of you. And that organization of information was seeping through into the physical reality. Now, the closer you are to that peace, the deeper in that peace you are, the shorter the lag between your inner state and external behavior. Okay? But the message here is that if you see everything as an involuntary response, which means that you in your reality become like a soul operating power in eliciting these responses. Okay? And your goal is actually to have people acting less and less from the ego and more organically from the soul, where the responses are still not chosen. And often you can see in people, it's not planned, it was involuntary, but it was just directly from the heart, and it was just something that just happened, and perhaps completely out of the character for them, but they could not resist it because it was involuntary. Something in their heart just acted out. And so you wanna interact with the world and with the people as much as possible through that involuntary heart or soul response. Okay, that's where all the playfulness is. That's where all the life is, and a real connection. Okay, and and it is possible to uh, gain skills. There are such skills, basic interaction skills between you and another person, without going into needing any kind of manipulative techniques, right? You just understand certain principles of the human interaction, okay? And so you could, just like in a dance, as a leader, you can lead your partner. You are following the music, and then through the music, there are feelings, motions, and your partner is kind of following that, okay? And there's, of course, there's a communication. Is sort of there are suggestions. I don't want to go too deep into this, but what I'm trying to say here is that there is a certain type of preparation that you can do, like learning skills of dancing. The same thing in a learning skills in a conversation, or principles of humor, right? But once you learn them, they're just like part of your memory, part of the natural interaction it becomes, right? So just like you, for example, you're drilling a motion in a dance until it becomes sort of natural. And then when you're dancing, you're not thinking about what kind of motion you need to do. They're just happening because they're already recorded in your memory, right? What I'm trying to say here is that that playfulness and that creativity that happens between people when they're moving from a soul, when they're comfortable to be who they are, uh, does require a certain degree of skill, of course. Art always requires certain science, and science always requires certain art. It's just they go together. But the point that I'm trying to make, it is not voluntary. When you do a specific motion and you have a specific feeling, your partner is not choosing to respond to it. It happens automatically, involuntary. And that's how the playfulness is really experienced. Like, of course, now I'm using words to describe something um, which doesn't really need any kind of a description, right? But what I'm saying here, it's almost like we're talking what's behind the scenes. It's just like understanding the intricate um, technology of the engine in the car. But most people don't care about what's in the car and how it all works. They just want to sit down and experience, the sense of acceleration, and that's what brings them joy. And of course, nobody really needs to know what's going on in that engine and how it all happens, right? This is why it's almost like an invitation to live life directly, and just like perhaps stimulating the curiosity about this. But I know from the masculine perspective, this can be helpful to understand, because As long as you understand that what I'm describing and what I'm talking about is not the actual thing, right? But anyway, the whole point of this message is to understand and become aware more and more of involuntary responses in people, and that may give you a lot of energy that you've been wasting before. This is what like happened to me. Uh, I had moments of realization. And I was like, oh my god, it's almost like the people are not choosing. It's like even if they make a choice, you realize that that wasn't an actual choice either. That was just all pre-programmed. So you can't blame anybody for anything anymore, right? And so when you don't, you save so much energy, and all that energy then is being contributed to more peaceful and blissful states, which then affects the reality in the most positive, the best way possible. And so you just take that attention away from it, put it back where it is, and then that changes your reality, entire reality. And it's almost like they're not choosing. They're like doing things now based on the intelligence that you have been pumping out. Okay? And it's almost like they're still not choosing it. So people talking about, taking your power back, taking your power back. And if power is ability to have effect on the world based on your intent or your sole desire, then this is the definition of true power. And hopefully, as I'm saying this, you can realize the power of that peace, bliss state that you are emanating inside of you. That compassion, where the thoughts cannot survive because it's stillness. And if the thoughts cannot survive, beliefs cannot survive. And so, no dark magic, which is a type of belief system, can affect you. That's the power of the compassion, stillness there. And this is how you take your power back. And naturally, you sort of become representative of the light side, of course. And the more that peace and bliss you have, the more you are overcoming every single challenge that comes your way alchemically, the better the events you see around you. Okay? The more justice you see in the world. And like I said, this is an ongoing process. Yes, you can be more stable there and more sort of almost experienced in dealing with all sorts of and finding the ways of what is the best way to deal with each single challenge that arises as a feeling within your system. But that's the only challenge to overcome first. Until that is done, the quality of the reality is not going to change. As a continuous process, every time like there's a trigger happens, you create a boundary, and you take the energy back to yourself. Put back in yourself. Don't feed the system. Don't feed the matrix with your attention. Okay. Another thing I want to say. Cheers. Ah, my tea. This is some good shit right there. As I would like to encourage you to do this one-on-one sessions. They're the real deal. Um, we can corner your distractions and bring you to the point where attention needs to be in order to unlabel these things. Anyway, so just want to encourage you. If you're thinking of this, if you're still sort of like um, suffering and the mind is keep on running and the pressures become so difficult, the only way is through the eye of a needle, and we can find that in that one-on-one session. So honestly, this is what I want to do more than talking directly to the camera. I prefer them my videos to mostly be one-on-one sessions with somebody, because people in real time make that permanent perception shift, where only then the real life begins. You see, very important, very important. Only then you see everything, and then you realize what how many people are stuck in that kind of matrix. But then it's okay, because now you are the player of life. Okay, and then you're not really angry at the matrix at all, because you understand that whatever's going to happen in the matrix is whatever you're going to program to happen. So if somebody's still in the matrix, um, then it's not a problem, right? Only a few people are just going to be players anyway. And honestly, like ideally, matrix need to be servant of the players of life. It needs to be a servant, and it needs to obviously be removed from any kind of capacity to control information, media, software, or something like that. That's very important, because this is what the mind does, and this is why I recognize this as a very important law in a society. This is why software corporations should not exist. They're supposed to be open source, decentralized projects, ideally. Like Web 3.0 is talking about exactly that, and Web 2.0 should less scared of that, because they're going to be made redundant. But it's very important sacrifice to make, so the society is functioning more orderly, which they claim that that's what they want. But in order to have that, they have to let go of the control that they want. Okay? Now, control or matrix supposed to be producing hardware, tangible goods. It's in all of the matrix system supposed to be about the physical world, centralized, right? And centralization is important there. In production, and hardware and all this. That's what centralization is important. So that's what we need to do to reimagine the matrix that is functioning correctly, where everything is in appropriate places. And why would we want to do that? Is because we discovered that within our consciousness, and when we realize, like, oh, when logics is invading the heart, it creates all sorts of dysfunctions. So then you don't let that happen in society as well. Okay, society not supposed to be programmed by the media, all these agendas or these beliefs, or these social platforms. it's supposed to be left without these programs evolving organically. Anyway, besides this point. Okay, so Matrix does not become an enemy. It just need to be put in the right place. And just because somebody is still in the Matrix doesn't mean that person is like against you or not serve may not be serving you. They may be serving you. Why would they be serving you? It's because they're responding to the programming. And now that you are in charge of the programming, they're going to be serving you. This is why it may give you a little bit more courage to participate in the society, so to speak, in the structure of the society, especially when you already see that's happening and cleanup is taking place and fraud is being reduced and um, more just laws are being enforced and all of those different things that favor longevity of the society and the quality of life rather than bottom line or numbers on the screen. This is already happening. You'll see that. And if you participate in a society and you think like, well, it's kind of corrupt, even if I try to get some justice here, I won't get it. Um, I would say that participate in it and don't allow it, at least within yourself, to have that type of belief. Because if you do, then that's what society is. It's not healthy to observe the corruption and then go into the despair and say, oh, it's all fucking corrupt. Fuck this shit. That's not healthy because that's exactly what you are contributing to. So if you want to change, you got to remove that attention from that thing, which just means that you're no longer getting triggered by this corruption, existence of the corruption. So you receive all this energy now, and that is your creative power. And then you can start imagining something that you do want, and that is the programming of the people within the matrix. Okay. And if you want some law to be passed or something, um, or people that are crooks put in jail and not to be operating and having power that breeds the injustice and corruption and abuse and all of the different things, then this is what you're imagining with all this energy that you're not wasting anymore. You'll be getting frustrated about this, which is just a contribution. So you see, that's the trick of the matrix. If the matrices gets you and triggers you, then you're contributing your energy towards it. But if you are understanding that, okay, this is just a programming, it's an involuntary response to the program, you're not trying to control it externally because it's just waste of energy. You put it back here and you start imagining what you do want. You know, it's okay. That person should be in jail. You know, and all these people, when this pedophile ring was discovered, everybody's like, they're gonna get away, they're gonna get it. Like, well, please, first of all, don't say that, at least to yourself, because what kind of weak ass shit is that? If that triggered you, alchemize all that, and then imagine them receiving justice, being in jail for their crimes. You see, because you're imagining something that is fair and just, and it's not coming from the rage or anger, because you're already at peace with that because you've alchemized it. But you're thinking, okay, what is the right thing? Well, the right thing is the headline saying that this pedo, this creep was arrested. Yeah, that feels right. Yeah, that's something that's supposed to happen. And you may even enjoy it and feel good. So, oh yeah, That feels good to have these people accountable for their actions. And that's what happens. And so when it happened, when there was the first arrest from this, like all these uh, scandals that were out here, when that arrest happened, I posted that exact link to the people who were just saying that they're going to get away with it. To say, well, yeah, look at that. See? No, they won't. All it takes is for you to just say that they won't, take their energy back, imagine how it's supposed to be, and it will happen. Okay? Um, so look how many things you can do in the world without even leaving your chair. And you see, this sort of power, this invisible power, is then not to be recognized. So you don't even have any opposition. You see, because if I say that, oh, hey, this is why these people got arrested, because this is how I did it, and if anything else I want in my reality, I will also get it, and this is how I do it. You say like, well, you're being a fucking lunatic because what the fuck are you talking about? That's not. Where's the proof that there's a causality in this? Okay, but you, by spending time observing consciousness and seeing the feedback based on your state of consciousness, you over time you can convince him in your own mind that it's statistically significant results that you're getting. Okay, I can understand that you may not believe it when it happens first, and mind's like, oh, that would have happened anyway, right? But if you see it once, twice, thrice, and you keep on seeing happening, you have to start admitting that it does indeed have the effect. Okay, because you are moving to this timeline even where that is the case. And the more I'm doing it, the more you watching this video also gravitating towards it as well. Because I'm fighting for my ideal timeline, which is not my ideal timeline, it's just the ideal timeline. And that is where the most peace and bliss emanates in all sorts of enjoyable expressions. I mean, that's the whole point of life, right? This is where you want to get. You want to get where survival needs are being taken care of in ingenious ways, and thriving, which is the soul, right? Your body needs to survive, and then your soul needs to thrive. That's the whole point. And if you have that, you're living a fulfilled life. Okay? That is a life of living in the Shire. But the Shire does not happen by itself. You have to go through war, through spiritual war. You have to fight for the Shire. Okay? This is why I thought they're just going to come here and build this village and everything's going to be all right. But then I realized, oh, this place is infested with demons. This place is where they practice black magic. This place is full of witches and warlocks. And so I realized I have a spiritual war cut out for me for the next few years. Well, from this perspective speaking, probably 2-3 more years, because 2029 there is very important end of the cycle, and the quality of consciousness and intelligence and the level of alchemical prowess that we're going to receive, that's what's going to be solidified in 2029. This is why it's so important right now. It's not about this stupid ass thing. It's not about vanities anymore. I look at people at this point in life focusing on these same old vanity things that doesn't really get you anywhere. And I'm like, okay, this is completely waste of time. Not right now. That's not what's important. Right now, what is mostly important is your inner state of consciousness. And it's almost, I see this as an opportunity to collect a lot of gems. It's like, when you play a video game and you have that bonus level. And so rather than avoiding all this, because it gets sometimes tough, and these challenges are tough, and the numbness that you have to burn through, and like it's all these challenges being thrown upon you, but you keep on going, keep on fighting, keep on going, keep on going, keep on going internally. And every time you receive those gems, receive that bliss, and it builds up, builds up, builds up, builds up. And so that's what you really want to do. Um, it doesn't matter what you do. You may do the most essential things that you need to do, and that's what I would recommend you to do, by the way. No distractions, because I recognize that this particular time is about like the spiritual war, and the more I focus just on that, and I do my gym, I do my dancing, um, I do my work that is required of me to do, but that's all I do, right? I cut out all the sort of like a travelings, going to the events that are not part of this place. I cut out all of these distractions and putting my energy where it does not really supposed to be contributed. And I'm focusing, 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 right? I even cut out dating. I even cut out all these types of distractions. And it's not what's important right now. And if you as a man, like, it's not right now looking for solace, in somebody's skirt. That's not what it's for right now, this time. Like, if you're a real deal alchemist, a real deal warrior, you're not going to use this time for that. Okay? You have to give it a couple of years, 2 3 years, and just focus completely on how far you can go with that alchemy, how much peace and bliss you can build up inside of you for no reason whatsoever, and fight for every single place in your heart, okay, so to speak, eliminating these distortions over and over and over again, until you know until none of them are there, right? And so that's so important, very, very important, okay? And for me, for example, dancing is becoming such a great sharing of that energy between a man and a woman, and so much joy is in there, and it's so real, and you have that little bubble of reality where you can really have really good time and enjoy that. And when it's over, it's over. And I like that because, and honestly, that is enough for me to have few great dances a week. To me, that's enough of playfulness that I need to, to have um, from women. Like, that carries me for a week, you know, because I understand that it is important, but you do it in such a focused and condensed way that like all of that energy is being expressed in a short uh, time, but in a condensed way, and it is like a Cinderella effect for a little moment and then back. And I try to continue this, and I try to see if I could date these girls that I'm dancing with, and it's not working, because when a person is in this environment, in the dance environment, right, there's a lot to alchemize there, there's a lot of theurgy to do, and you do this and you create that and it's experienced, and you experience everything and it's done. But when they go back to the normal field, the hive mind, then their approach, their thinking, this involuntary response, they start acting weird. And this is why sometimes, people, men or women, may have a frustration with having a genuine, real connection, because when a person returns to the matrix mind, it loses that capacity, and then they act like, you know, um, disrespectful, or whatever the matrix tells them that they should do, right? So, no, it's not necessary right now, okay? Like I said before, it's supposed to happen like spontaneously, and this is why it felt to me like as kind of a distraction. I have a really good time going dancing and connecting on that level, and leaving at that, and it just feels good. And any kind of extra continuation of like dating, it just feels like a distraction, and it's not the time right now, you see. So focus on alchemy, magic, and might. Focus, focus, focus. Cut out all sorts of distractions, and leave the essence, leave the essence, leave the essence. That's where you're gonna get the most um, rewards, actually. Because when the war is over, whoever's going to be the most um, sparkling with diamonds from all these alchemical victories, that's the man that's going to create the most impressive domain, in which it's enjoyable to live, participate, and be like a kingdom, like a shire. That's the way I see it. So you see, there's nothing that the Matrix can do. There's nothing that these dark, occult, uh, you know, black magic enthusiasts can do. They cannot do anything. Okay. Um, because they're not in charge of this reality. And in fact, the more you alchemize, the more you take away your energy from it, the more everything backfires for them. And little by little, they're realizing that if they do another ritual, they're gonna bring even more disaster onto themselves. But that's okay, they can do it. Because every time they do a ritual, there's an alchemical challenge that you can alchemize and gain even more power. And every time they do the ritual, I feel it. I told you, like this Super Bowl halftime rituals that they did. There was another occasion that they did like last week. This right now, they're doing rituals as well. I can feel it. But every single energy that's coming away that is like that disorderly, I use it. I use it. I use it. I use it. And it's like, thank you. Thank you for revealing everything. Thank you for putting all the demons on the platter for me to slay. And since I dedicated my life to this, the blood drinking vampire bowl is over. And they may be squirming and in panic for like the next 2 years, but 2029, end of 2028, the vibe in the world is going to be very different. So forget about chicks right now. Forget about all sorts of things. Don't pay attention to this kind of thing. Don't try to micromanage like relationships. You're not going to get any kind of success right now. Right now, you're in a spiritual war. Okay, you do gonna have some connections that are gonna be momentary and intense and full of meaning, but they're gonna be spontaneous and on your path. But don't chase that. It happens, and it's done, and it's done. And if you try to chase that, then you distract yourself from your path. Just keep going on what's the most important thing for you to do. Alchemize all the negative feelings. Imagine what you want. Enjoy that imagination. Do that as much as possible before bed. Or if you wake up in the night and go back to bed at that particular time, also imagine what you desire, what makes you feel good. That's your magic. And might just do what you have to do. Do what you have to do to make money. Do what you have to do to keep your body in shape. Um, okay? But don't go in a world of um, dating and mating and all that stuff. It's going to turn into a distraction. And after your hero's journey is done, trust me, whatever it's waiting there for you is incomparable to any of the chicks that you meet on the way. So, and you're not even waiting for it because you're in the process of slaying demons. You're full of these diamonds anyway. There's nothing that externally uh, a woman can offer to you, and because it cannot offer anything, it cannot control you, and because they cannot control you, the matrix cannot control you, because the matrix and the evil is coming through vulnerable woman and fucking you up. Okay, and like we learned in this video, the reason it happens because you don't yet have your own shield, which is compassion, and your own sword, your Excalibur sword, which is bliss, your diamonds. And so when you have that completely done with your hero's journey, when it's time for Shire, it's gonna happen. Okay? And you want to get to the point where you are not waiting for it, that you have no attachments at all to this thing. And this is actually the measure of maturity of a man, where all the feminine energy that you need comes from within. And you're not a sucker. You cannot be manipulated and used by the matrix through women into losing your energy. You see? And once you're there, so to speak, when it comes the time when you're done with your hero's journey and it's time for Shire time, right? um, woman that went through her own heroine journey, there's not going to be any kind of nonsense, bullshit, and testing. You won't need to do any of these things because it won't exist in your reality, because this is not what you're creating. And if you are in a relationship, then it may be challenging, and it is challenging, and I know that it is challenging right now, and you may need to use that for the alchemy purposes. You don't know if you're going to end up with this person or not, but if they offer you some opportunity for alchemy, use it. If they trigger you, use it. If you say, okay, this is something that is not fair, not right, I don't like it, set the boundary. The feeling's going to arise, alchemize it. Okay, and don't be afraid to do that. You have to understand, because your heart already knows what's fair, what's just. And if you feel that, okay, energetically, so sometimes somebody may say something that is just like on a text or whatever, but energetically you feel it, like, oh, this is somebody who's playing games with me, and you cut that off immediately and say, you know what, let's just be friends. um, it's better that way. And if you have any feelings to alchemize, but kept your boundary right. You dictate your domain. You decide what's in your domain. And you say, well, this is how my domain works, because it comes from within, from your heart. This is how I want my domain to be. This is how I want my tribe to be. And at first you may say, well, there's not a lot of people who fit to that. It doesn't matter. You live your life, even if it's just you live life by that code, by that codex. And it will come the time when somebody is going to say, hey, I prefer to live in this way and belong to your tribe, belong to your domain, right? And it is what I'm trying to say. It's the person needs to flip the perspective only then, and they have to have their own perspective shift, independent of you. If they are to be your tribe member, they have to be your fellow player, that you play the game together. Um, okay, only then is your tribe. Because if you're a player, then somebody who's not cannot really belong to your tribe. This is why, like I said, the inner sanctum, outer sanctum, you keep these people as friends, and you're still a human being. You have compassion for them, even if they're evil, that's exactly what you need to be doing. If you see something that is carrying that dark energy, alchemize it, have a lot of peace, take that energy from them, so to speak. Okay, what else can I say about this? Book one-on-one sessions with me, okay? At this time right now, I'm doing them for free, okay? Use this opportunity, because when I'm gonna have a line of people asking for this, and I will, because you can see the how much pressure there is to break out the matrix, then I'm gonna be charging. So right now, use an opportunity, book those sessions with me, and in one session, we're gonna light you up. Then once you flipped, you'll be able to maintain it yourself. And okay. And all of these people who participate in the matrix and try to micromanage it, and all these figures, they try to keep their head afloat. Then it's not gonna happen. Okay, they're also either going to be completely swallowed by the matrix, or they're gonna be out of this. So why not do it now? But you see, at this point in my life, I realize how it all works. And I'm not really even attached to the outcome, whether, you know, because I see few men are joining me, interested in this. alchemical way of life. Uh, and The magic and might, this alchemy, magic and might approach to life. Really, seriously, not another fucking affirmation manifestation and just all living in the mind level that don't really change any quality of life. This is real deal. And it requires courage and surrender, which you cannot fake. You see. This is why it's a real deal. Okay? And the reason I'm not really attached to the outcome that much, or at all actually, is because I don't know. It's just, of course, it's more fun to uh, play with somebody, right? To co create, of course. But you don't need a lot of people for that. You have few people that are understanding to live life in this way, and that's enough, you know? That's a good approach to have. If there's going to be a lot more people joining, that's great. What they're done with all sorts of their nonsense and trinkets and wasting time, then a lot more people are going to join. And then again, it's not some sort of another fruity commune, and no, it's just people living normally, more responsibly, more sustainably, and genuine luxury. It doesn't look like any culty, secty type of thing, you know. It's just the sane people living good life. That's all. All right, let's alchemize whatever is happening now, because I know it is happening. You can do it. I believe in you. Book a session, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.